And we are live. Thank you so much for joining this segment of the Dubb Action Online Summit event. Today we have Lisa Tay with us. Tay rhymes with day. And Lisa and I actually connected on LinkedIn. And I'm really excited to chat with her because she's the founder of an agency. She's a personality. She's an influencer. She has so much great intel for us. If you want to learn how to crush it on LinkedIn, if you want to learn how to build your personal brand, build your company's brand, and rinse and repeat and have this be a very scalable situation, Lisa is the gal to talk to. Lisa, if you could start with a short bio and then let's get into this.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me, Ruben. I'm so excited to be here. It's bright and early in Australia, which is where I'm dialing in from. So I've got a few things that I guess, work on. So I guess my 9 to 5 is Cody Agency, which is a digital marketing company. So I run that out of Melbourne, Australia, and we've got clients all around the world. So we focus on organic social media management, content creation, and influencer campaigns. So that's quite different from my, I guess, career beginnings as a tax lawyer. Thank God, digital marketing is so much more interesting. So you can see some of our work on the screen, some of our amazing clients. So that sort of keeps me busy 9 to 5. And then I also have a tech startup called Listening, which just launched. So we launched in private beta about 2 months ago. We're now in public beta, and it's a unique platform that connects mentees with mentors all around the world. So we've got some killer mentors on there. So mentees just post a job. You can be looking to scale your company or deal with issues in the company. You can be looking to fast track your career. So they post whatever they're looking for, and then mentors from around the world can make offers on the requests. So I'm really excited for this one. I personally have really benefited from mentors. So I'm excited to help other people find mentors that might change their life.
And how much would it cost me to get mentorship from the co-founder of Netflix? Just so I am.
He's good for group corporate sessions.
Fair enough. I'll get a bunch of my friends and we'll start saving up. Fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. So he's actually one of our clients at Cody. So he's a legend, like such an amazing guy, really generous with his time. He loves helping the next generation of entrepreneurs. So he's got a great podcast called That Will Never Work. And he actually does live mentoring with startups, which is incredible.
Well, that's such a great segue because there's so many objections that entrepreneurs, that leaders, that innovators get as they're on their journey to innovate, to change the world, to build technology, to build a business, to solve some problem, provide a solution, and become a viable, growable business. There's so many objections that we get on that path. And I think what's really interesting is that at some point in a business, assuming that they sort of get over the challenging hump, they get to this place of the wu wei. This is like the balance that they talk about in Taoism, where water is flowing, it's harmonious, it's balanced, and it's really, really challenging to get there. You have to get over that hump, that product market fit, and the grinding and the selling and the sort of desperation, running out of money, stuff like that. And when they get to that place, that harmonious place of now we're ready to start growing, my question for you is, how can we help people to get to that more flowy, gooey state and past all the challenges that we as entrepreneurs go through? I have a feeling you're going to say mentorship, but tell me specifics on what we can do to overcome that, because I've been through it many times and it's tough.
Honestly, I think they've really glamorized running your own business and being an entrepreneur over the past couple of years, and it's really hard. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it ever stops being hard. Like I'm about 5 years in, like it's still a struggle every day, a struggle that I love, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't at any point ever say that it's easy. And, I sort of liken, especially running an agency, I sort of liken it to being in the ocean. It's like you can not relax for a second, otherwise you're just going to get hit by a tidal wave. So you kind of always need to be on and focused. But I would say, look, mentorship for me has definitely changed the game. So hence why we wanted to launch Listening. But, I think there's so many mistakes you can avoid by talking to people who have gone down the path that you want to go down. So, whether it's managing people and getting tips on that, whether it's, helping manage cash flow or, nail your marketing. I've just had so many sessions where I've been able to share, just a small portion of my knowledge and all my learnings from the many mistakes I've made to people. And what the consistent feedback is that if they were to go out and try and research the answers to their questions, it would take them weeks, months, and, or potentially years of experience to just get those learnings. Whereas in a mentoring session, you can get that information in 30 minutes or an hour. So I would definitely say that mentoring is 100% one massive tip that can help you. I also think raising a personal brand is really, really important. And I didn't really do this until probably 2019. And I came from quite a corporate career background, and I was very nervous to put myself out there in the business world. I'm like, who am I to be sharing my knowledge? I've, barely been in the game. And it sort of took me a long time to feel comfortable even sharing content on LinkedIn. But since then, it's just been incredible. Like, I've built an amazing network. I've got to talk to people like you on the other side of the world. I've won business for for my company. I've been asked to speak on panels. Last year I ran for Deputy Lord Mayor of Melbourne.
Wow.
After I saw my content on LinkedIn. So I've had the chance to interview, incredible people from around the world for our podcast called Listening. So it's just incredible when you put yourself out there in the world, because you're then going to be considered for opportunities you never even knew existed. So from that perspective, I'm all about getting active and, getting your personal brand out there to help build your business.
I really appreciate some of the topics that you just mentioned. I think it's so important to take this advice. There's a couple of realizations that I also had, which are very parallel to what you were referencing. Number one is that the aquatic being in the ocean reference, I can't relate to that anymore. Like, it's not more possible to relate to that because, first of all, I'm a water sign. So I will side with that. So anything that I kind of connect to is, a lot of the times, it's water based. I don't know. It's funny. The other thing is, going back to that kind of Taoist philosophy, they talk about water a lot, in fact, where, the ideal way to be is to be like water. I mean, Bruce Lee spoke about this, Lao Tzu spoke about this, Confucius spoke about this. And what I think they mean by that is that water takes on a lot of different forms. It can crash, it can flow, it can be hard, it can be gas, it can be liquid. It takes on different sort of formats. And I think that that's so relevant for us as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as innovators, to realize that we do have to adapt, and that if we're flowing in a stream, we're flowing in the stream. But all of a sudden, if there's a gravitational pull and now it becomes a waterfall, we better adapt. And if we're in the ocean and that waves hit us, we better ride it. We better become a surfer. So I really appreciate, that reference where we constantly are in a flowable state where we really have to adapt. Otherwise, we just get washed out.
Absolutely. Right? I think, what happened last year with the global pandemic is like a classic example of this. I think a lot of people had their whole year planned out and they knew what they were going to do. And then all of a sudden, everything changes. And like, really only the adaptable and the strong survived. And it was quite, a challenging time for a lot of businesses. But I feel like, as an entrepreneur, it teaches you so much when you're faced with something that the world's never seen before, and you then come out the other side, you're like, actually, like, I can do anything. And it's quite an empowering feeling realizing that.
I love that. Yeah. You mentioned this idea of the personal brand and how you went on your journey, realizing that you had a voice. In the beginning, you might have felt imposter syndrome or fear or, inadequate, all the things that we all feel when we're starting to put content out there. But you quickly realized that you did have a voice and you did have an audience. And, people like myself love watching your content on LinkedIn. And I think what's really interesting for people to hear about that is that a lot of people think that you have to network when you're looking for a job or when you're looking for something. And I'm qualified to say this because I used to think exactly that. Oh, I'm not going to network. I'm not going to go to the conferences and do my stuff on LinkedIn and do stuff on social unless I need something. And it's the most selfish, desperate, sort of losing strategy that you can do out there, because it's just rooted in what I need, and it's not rooted
Yes.
in providing value and, giving and giving and giving. So, I always like to remind people, and I take inspiration from you, that we all have a voice and we all just need to get started, just the same way that you did. And now, with your success, it's inspiring.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. Look, I definitely don't feel like I'm anyone special. And in fact, I get this, I guess, misconception about myself quite a lot. I'm not an extrovert. I'm an introvert, and I love sitting at home doing nothing, like not being in a room full of people. And so, the thought of putting yourself out there on LinkedIn was very, very scary. I'm not going to lie. But the thing that actually motivated me to was that I felt like I consume a lot of content. In fact, I think I'm addicted to consuming content. And I thought, I'm consuming all this content. I'm not really sharing it with anyone other than the people that I might talk to or the people in my immediate circle. And I thought it's really helpful for me, and it's really sort of changed my mindset on some things or helped me through a sticky situation. So I thought, if I could share it on LinkedIn and it helped one person, then I felt like that's actually worth it. It's like actually worth my
Mhm.
time to put myself out there. And so that's actually what sort of motivated me at the start. And like you said, you can go on there for selfish reasons if you want to. And look, if that's what drives you, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think if you've got a greater purpose or a greater motivator than just yourself, it's going to push you so much further. So I just started sharing content. And at the start, I cringe when I look back at if I saw my first videos, I would just probably die of embarrassment. They were so bad. And of course, like, you're talking to no one, but with the
Yeah.
organic reach on LinkedIn, and actually Rimney from Listening, she did a post. I think she had about 20 followers, or maybe 100 followers. And her first video post got seen by maybe 700 people. And she just posted, and good on her, she just posted, I think a couple of weeks ago. And this is her first job first sort of proper job out of uni. And, so it just goes to show, no matter where you are in your career, you can be posting content and people are going to be interested in what you say. So I think it's really just sort of putting yourself out of your comfort zone and sharing things that are really authentic and genuine to you. And I think that's what really is going to cut through. And I've just been amazed because I've been consistently posting content since probably like the end of 2019. And I just have the most I feel so fortunate. Like, I've got people like yourself who I never would have met without LinkedIn, and you just form this amazing community around you who, believe in the things that you believe in, who think positively, who care about others, whatever it is that you want to put out to the world. But you start to build that community around you, which is, almost like a bit of a pinch yourself moment, like when you
Yes.
sort of get comments on your content, or people messaging you saying that video really inspired me, or that post inspired me. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Like, and I love getting messages like that. It really actually makes my day.
Well, it's so cool in your LinkedIn bio to read some of the things that you're sharing. And what I really sense and what I really connect to you is this idea of, you're an introvert, but then you sort of function as an extrovert. You leverage content, but you're also analytical. You're not always just talking just to talk. And I think what's really interesting about having that level of humility and sometimes even self-deprecation. I'm reading your claim to fame. A vid went viral of me lip syncing to Kourtney Kardashian with my dog on TikTok. It's those kind of human, authentic moments that I think people really connect to. And I do want to see that video. So if you're able to share the link with me, I'd love to kind of show that real quick. But in the meantime, I will show you my claim to fame. I will show you, which is this video that I did on TikTok. And this video, believe it or not, got 2.25 million views. And I have no idea how that happened. It's the weirdest thing. 49.9 thousand hearts and 2,000 comments. It was crazy. And I'm not a TikToker. This is not something that I do very frequently. It's just it's the right way to reheat pizza. You'll have to watch this and learn how I think we should do it. But what I think is But what I think is really interesting about this is that my intention is never to go viral. In fact, I don't want to go viral because I've had viral moments in my life, and it always ends up in a crash at the end, which I just don't want to deal with. Back to the waterfall. It's fun jumping off the waterfall, but getting to the bottom always isn't fun. So what I really appreciate is this idea of consistent consistent content, consistent community, consistent connections, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that that's a very good point that you raised, because people start posting content and they just assume they're going to go viral straight away. It's like, that's not going to happen. I mean, if it happens, that's amazing and that's really lucky. But then they just want to give up because they go, oh, I haven't gone viral. No one's seen my content. And yeah, I'm just going to, not post anymore. But what they need to realize is that happened to everyone. So all content creators started from nothing. Like they started
Yes.
with no content, no followers, and then they gradually built it up by being consistent. And that, like, the consistency is crazy. And I actually was looking at my stats the other day on LinkedIn, and since I started posting at the end of 2019, I've had 2.5 million impressions on my content. And it's like,
Wow.
that wouldn't have happened if I gave up after my first terrible video. And I think, like, through that content, I've been able to reach and connect with so many incredible people around the world, have so many amazing opportunities. One business for Cody. And it's just, I think, you can't give up at the start if you're just not getting that traction, because it will take time and the algorithm rewards you for that consistency.
Well, I think there's a really interesting paradox here, which is that introverted people might be more comfortable having people come to them to do business, whereas extroverted people might be more comfortable to go out to other people, like networking, like, I don't know, cold calls, cold emails, just going out and asking to shake someone's hand. And what's really interesting, and I think the paradox here, is that by creating content, you can still maintain your introversion, your privacy, not always be focused on trying to shake people's hands and cold call people. And in fact, have people come to you, because as your content gets out there, spread into the world, it gains light and it gains visibility and more people see it. And effectively, you're kind of cloning yourself. And then when people see you, they feel like they know you, that parasocial relationship. And I think nothing is cooler than that. So tell me about what it's been like for you to receive inbound business instead of having to go and seek it out for your ventures.
Oh, look, it's actually been incredible, because I definitely feel like there's a certain type of person that reaches out to me to want to do business with me. And I almost feel like they share the same sense of humor as me. They sort of have a similar view of the world. And it really, for me, cemented the fact that you've got to be yourself on social media, and there's nothing that's going to cut through the noise more than authenticity. So I look at some of my content, and is it the most polished content in the world? 100% not. It's definitely not polished. I just use my phone. I sit there, my dog's just staring at me going, what are you talking, like, who are you talking to? And I just record and I post content. And I feel that, the pandemic's probably really not accelerated, but made people feel comfortable with not posting content that's really perfect or beautifully produced. And for me, I didn't want that to stop me from sharing content. So I feel like just being myself and just sort of being a little bit more raw has helped me, I guess, attract certain types of people that sort of, I guess, view the world in a similar way. And so, I mean, look, I love getting inquiries and seeing if I can help people. Like, I love sales and business development. I don't know why, I feel really excited by it, but I think it's more because I view it as problem solving and seeing if we can help them solve a problem. So it's definitely exciting when you get that message. But equally, as a woman in business, I love getting messages from women who are like, it's really great to see a woman in business putting herself out there. I get a lot of messages from young women who say that, it's really great to have, a woman, in business on LinkedIn sharing content, because a lot of women don't, unfortunately. And I look at our clients, and we do LinkedIn management at Cody, and I'd say probably 95% of them are men. And that's because I think a lot of women feel, I guess, a bit hesitant to put themselves out there. They don't feel like they've got the credibility. So as a woman in business, I actually feel a strong responsibility to put myself out there to show that you don't have to be perfect. I make mistakes every single day. Just ask my teams. Like, I'm making mistakes constantly. I talk about mental health. I talk about, if I'm having a bad day. I talk about things that inspire me. But, I'm just very authentic with the content that I share. So I feel like as a woman with a platform, it's just a small platform, but I do want to show women that you can put yourself out there no matter where you are in your career and share your story.
That's lovely and inspiring. Yeah. So another question for you is kind of related to this idea of finding a mentor. A lot of people are intimidated by that. I'm picturing at the end of a talk, of a keynote speech, where someone like the co-founder of Netflix gets off the stage and there's a long line. And I can't imagine how many people would love to have him as a mentor. And he's sitting there saying, okay, well, I just got 100 grand to do this gig. And, I want to help people and it'd be cool to shake some hands. But how do you break through that? How do you get someone as a mentor? Now, I'm not saying we should get Fortune 500 CEOs and co-founders as our mentors, but there's this disparity of I am a humble entrepreneur. I'm on my journey. I'm a student. And then I'm seeking to receive something from this mentor without a lot to offer. Maybe I can't afford their time. Maybe I don't have anything to offer. I don't know if they're going to take my volunteering. One of my favorite things that one of my former business professors said is that, asking someone, very successful person, if they can be your mentor is like kind of funny, because the answer that you might get is, well, how much are you going to pay me? The mentor might say that to them, how much are you going to pay me? Because my time is worth $5,000 an hour, and there's that funny thing. So I'd love to learn more about your startup, because it sounds like you're solving this problem. But how can we, just from a mindset perspective, come over that sort of scarcity mindset?
Well, so you raise a lot of really interesting points. So say, for example, you've got, hugely successful people like your Mark Randolphs from Netflix and, Elon, or you've got Bezos or Richard Branson even. And I look at them and I go, a lot of them are actually active on social media. So if you go on social media, you can find these people and they're posting inspiring content. Like I follow Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, Simon Sinek, those sort of people. You can be mentored by people you don't even know, because mentorship is about learning. So I know I learn a hell of a lot from just consuming content of the world's top thought leaders. You've got Listening on the screen at the moment, which is fantastic. So as you can see, we've got some incredible mentors from all around the world. And these are people who have actively said, yes, I'm wanting to give my time to mentor. So for starters, we thought, it is really difficult. You don't want to just slide into someone's DMs and go, hey, can you be my mentor? And look, I'll be honest with you, I get messages all the time of people who, like, they always say, can we get a coffee so I can pick your brain? And the challenging thing for people is that, like, I'm sure you're the same, like, you're trying to run a business. I'm trying to run a business. So, I barely have time to see my team, my clients, let alone trying to help inspire people I don't know. So I always try and make time if I can, or I direct them to our podcast. But now I can actually say, you can engage me through Listening, and you can put in a request. And then, if it's like a charity or a student, you can charge whatever you want to for your time. You might charge nothing, or you might charge $10, you might charge $100, but you can post a job or post a request, what you're looking for, and put whatever budget that you can afford. And I guess it's that concept of just, it's like, say if you wanted to get help with law, like a legal question or an accountant, you'd pay for that person's expertise. I'm sure you've got so much knowledge from your time as an entrepreneur, and, we want to be respectful of that time and knowledge. And I saw this great quote the other day, and it was saying that, when you pay someone for their time, it's not for the 30 minutes, it's actually for the years that they spent learning those lessons and learning that knowledge that they're in that time. And
I love that. Yeah. Anytime someone tries to negotiate with your rate, you always say, you're not paying for the time where I'm going to be doing the work for this. You're paying for the 20 or 10 years of experience that I have to get to this point. I love that.
Exactly. All the mistakes that I made, you're getting to benefit from those.
Love that. So important.
Yeah. So I think if you don't have the funds, then think about what you could offer that person. So for example, can you do graphic design? Could you offer that person some graphic design work? So I don't think you have to have necessarily money. Like you said, volunteer. So you can find people that you aspire to and see if there's any, internship opportunities or voluntary opportunities or ways that you could potentially help them. And then, even I think about young people, like they know so much more about digital and social than older people like me. So like they can offer that unique insight to someone. So it doesn't mean because you're young and you're just starting out, you've got nothing to offer. And then, like I said, just find, follow the amazing people, the amazing thought leaders on social, because if they're sharing lots of content, you can learn so much through them. Read their books, listen to their podcasts. Like, there are people sharing incredible knowledge every single day on so many different social platforms. Like, there's really no excuse for not learning from anyone anywhere in the world.
Love that. Where can we learn more about you? Your social channels, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Tell us more. And this is Donnie, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, how are you? Hey, yeah, so if you want to follow me or connect with me, you can find me on LinkedIn. My content's very much, I guess, like general business focus, a little bit of digital marketing thrown in there. And then I'm also on Instagram. I've been posting on Instagram for, I don't want to say since the dawn of Instagram, because that's going to show my age, but quite a while. Content isn't so business focused. It's like a little bit lower value content, like what I'm wearing, little peek behind the scenes. And then TikTok, still trying to work out what on earth I'm doing on TikTok. I'll say that, but there is a couple of random videos on there if you want to go and check it out.
Amazing. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you. Stick around for some production notes, and thank you again.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ruben. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Lisa.